Hello, guys, and welcome to the Heritage Agendas Football Podcast. This is now episode 12, with always myself and abdiisalah. Abdi, how we doing?
I'm doing well, bro. Alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. No complaints. Very interesting week of football. Transfer window finally closed. No,
Mm-hmm.
no turtle to Madrid, which is
No,
good.
sir.
Which is good.
There,
We're free of the interactions, bro.
up until, January, and then again in,
No, up
June.
until they lose a game, because then when people start getting mad, they'll just put some Mbappe news.
Yeah,
So
that's
shameless. But what's it called? Arsenal, very good result. They finally played a formation that actually makes sense,
yep,
which is what I said.
for the first time all season, at least playing in players in the position they belong in.
Yes.
I thought they weren't over. At least Arteta wasn't, trying to overthink and try new stuff. Just went for the best 11, at least the people that we had available.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll start with what was the day after.
Mm-hmm.
The day after the last episode, which was the Champions League, which both of us, our clubs are both in it this year for the first time in 7 years now. It's been since Arsenal was last in it.
Yep, for the first time since the 2016-2017 season.
That's crazy.
So,
Which was, I think, the last that was the Bayern year, right? The slapping
yep,
home and away.
5-1 home and away, 10-2 aggregates. That was a very, very long winter.
But we'll start with group. We'll just kind of go group by group. Give who we think's gonna come out some quick impressions. Group A sees Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray. For you, who are the two? Who are the two that make it out?
I think obviously Bayern is number one. I think
I
they're
agree.
completely the best team there. And on paper it should be Man United, but you never know, at least at this moment. And also Galatasaray has a really good team.
They do.
Um, so I'm just gonna just stick to, the status quo and say Bayern and Man United come out. I think that should not be a lot to ask of Man United to
I
just take
think
care of business.
Galatasaray come out, bro. I can't lie.
Mm.
I like their team a
They have a
lot.
really good team. They
I
have
like
a
their
really
team a
good
lot
team.
on various levels. But we'll gloss over that. We'll take this is Arsenal's group, which I think they got pretty fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sevilla, PSV, and Lens. I think Arsenal top, and I think PSV, not PSV. Sorry, Sevilla gets second. I think a pretty status quo as well.
The Sevilla is actually off, like you obviously know this, but they're obviously off to a terrible start
In La
in the
Liga,
league.
yes.
They're at the bottom of their table. But and Lens are also, like, they only have 1 point out of 4 games, and PSB is pretty good. But Sevilla, they have, European pedigree, I
And they
would
just got
say, as
Sergio
they are.
Ramos, which
Yeah, and
helps.
they just got Sergio Ramos, and they are the defending Europa League champions, which is why they're here. So I would think Sevilla's advances. So Arsenal and Sevilla as well for me.
Yeah. Group C sees Real Madrid with Napoli, Braga, and Union Berlin. I think we were as well pretty fortunate. Um,
Yeah,
I think pretty standard for me here. I think Madrid make it on top and Napoli second.
I agree with you. But how do you think Madrid fares against Napoli?
I think we split. I think we split games. I think
Okay.
there's gonna be one game that's questionable, but our form has been pretty good. 4 games so far, 4 wins. So
Yeah. I know Vinny is gonna miss at least two fixtures of the Champions League. I think the
yeah,
first two. So that'll probably be hard to overcome. But yeah, over a 6 game period, I think Madrid and Napoli over Braga and Union Berlin. That's pretty simple.
and then Group D sees Inter Milan, last year's runners-ups, with Benfica, Salzburg, and very interesting team for me this year, Real Sociedad. This group
Yeah.
is hard. I think people kind of look at it on the surface. I think I love what Inter have been doing this year, so I think they top. But give me a
Mhm.
Sociedad. I think that they turn some heads.
Yeah, they were. Um, I this is gonna sound very repetitive, but I agree with you as well. Also I'm rooting for Kieran Tierney as well,
Yes,
who
yes, good
is
signing.
an Arsenal loanee. And I think he'll help them a lot. So I think those Inter and Sociedad should be through.
And then Group E has Atletico Madrid, Feyenoord, Lazio, and Celtic. No, this one's hard. I think Atletico make it out, and I think they get 16 points. That's kind of I think that they don't lose in the group stage.
Yeah,
Lazio last season they were really really good. They finished second in Serie A, I believe, but they lose arguably their best midfielder over the summer to Milinkovic Savic.
yeah.
Uh, so I don't know. Maybe Celtic also lost Jota to Saudi. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be a toss up for that second place.
And Lazio brought in Matteo Guendouzi,
Mm-hmm.
who is not as good as obviously
Milinkovic
Malincia.
Savic.
Yeah. But he has some of his qualities. But yeah, I think Lazio should be through as well.
Then this is the interesting one. Group F.
Yeah,
This is the toughest group I think I've ever seen in Champions League, just top to bottom.
absolutely.
PSG, Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle.
Hmm.
This one, I want to hear this one 1 through 4. And the other ones we're doing 1 to 2. I want to see 1 through 4.
Okay. I think the best team on paper is PSG. They have the
Hmm.
best player in the group, arguably the
Yes,
best player in the world.
yes.
Um, and Dortmund and Milan are not like, walkovers. They are here every year, at least Milan as of recently. And they were in the semifinals, I believe, right?
Yep.
Last year. So and Newcastle is the underdogs. They're the newcomers. But they also play in the toughest league in the world. But my 1 through 4 is PSG, Milan, Newcastle, and Dortmund. Dortmund finishing last. Newcastle gets Europa.
Interesting. I think PSG are the best team.
Hmm.
Uh, but they have a tendency. This competition usually messes with their mentality a little. So I'm curious to see what they do. But I have them second. I have them making it out.
Yeah.
I think AC tops the group.
Okay.
And I think Newcastle get third. And I think Dortmund finished last as well.
Yeah. PSG is always troubled by being in easy groups, and then they always just fumble it where they don't win it at the end, especially last year. Um, so hopefully I think this will, get
Kind
them
of
ready
wake them
because
up
it's
for,
yeah, gets them ready. Every game is going to be a tough game. Rather,
yeah,
I remember last year they were stat padding again, 6-1 they beat.
against Maccabi. And yeah.
Yeah. So it should battle test them for the knockout stages, which is what they've needed because their wake up game is losing the first game of the round 16, which is, that's not a good
This is
place to
very late
start.
on. I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy that the three places you play away at San Siro, Iduna Park, Signal Iduna Park, and St. James's Park. Those are three of
yeah,
arguably the toughest places to play, like on a country by country basis, which is crazy.
absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be. This is the group that I'll watch every game. I think every game
Yes.
matters, and it's obviously we have them in order of like we both agree which way, but it could go either way because
Yeah.
Newcastle is not off to a good start in the league, and we both have them over Dortmund, so that could be something to watch.
Yeah. And then Group G, somehow City always get the easy groups. Man City
Yeah,
with Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys. So I think this one's pretty status quo as well. I think 1-2 is City Leipzig.
absolutely. Man City, this is I don't know the eighth year in a row, where they've gotten the easiest group out of everybody. It seems like, and last year they completely dismantled Leipzig, so I don't think that's going to be
Yeah, I don't think they'll have any problems.
that will be a problem for them. Yeah.
And then finally, Group H sees Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp. I think this one, a lot of these line up pretty straightforward to me. I think this one is Barca, Porto, 1-2.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think like my main like takeaway from like the whole UCL draw has been just like the lack of quality all around.
Yeah, that's very true. A lot of new
Is
teams.
a lot of new teams, and then it's very top heavy. and
Yes.
just one and two is anybody could get like 90% of that which is I think this year obviously Arsenal has been away for a while, but
Yeah, I'm
their
excited to
group
see
and
them
what
in.
they've so it's just it sucks to see the
I
lack
need
of
to fast
quality all
forward to
around.
February, man.
Oh my goodness,
I cannot wait.
we will see you. That's all I know. We will see
I
you
hope
this year,
so.
inshallah.
But who's let's say it like this. From these teams that we
Hmm.
just listed, how many realistically do you see winning it? Or how many do you think can win it? How about that? That's a better way to phrase the question.
For me, I'll give you five. Man City,
Yep.
Arsenal, Real
Okay.
Madrid, Napoli, and Barcelona. I think that should be the order of everybody. I
Wait, you
think those
said
are the
say those
clear.
again? Man City?
Man City, Arsenal,
Yeah.
Napoli, Real Madrid, and Barca. I
No
think those are
Bayern.
my top five. No Bayern. I
Wait, you
don't.
don't think Bayern can win it?
No, I don't think they're in my top five. I think they can win it, but I don't think they would be sixth or seventh
And
in
no
my order. I think
PSG.
PSG would be fifth or sixth for me, and then seventh would be Bayern.
Wow.
Bayern, I don't buy the Bayern hype. I have not bought that
I think they
ever.
win. See,
So
Bayern's my favorite. If I had to bet on a team, I'd bet on Bayern.
Bayern to win it all?
Bayern to win it all.
Oh, you're tripping.
Give me a
You
weakness. What are their weaknesses?
I their weakness is the fact that they play in a league they've won 11 years in a row.
It
Like
doesn't
that.
matter. They got better.
I
This
do that.
look at
Okay,
their
what
team.
do you? Okay, go
The
ahead.
keeper, they're fine now. They're gonna get Neuer back. I think a couple months, and they got a
Neuer, who
replacement.
hasn't played in 18
Okay,
months.
even if their keeper's a weakness, they can go get
Okay.
someone in January like they did with Summer. Right backs, they have Mazraoui now, who's been playing very well for them. Center backs,
Mm-hmm.
they actually have good options with Delict, Kim Min Jae. Upamecano now is at least he's a rotational piece. You're not forced to rely on him in games. They have Alfonso Davies. Paina signing not going through hurts. I can't lie, but Kimmich Goretzka is good as a two man with Musiala in that kind of creative role, and then
Yeah.
you have a genuine striker this year in Harry Kane,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Coleman, Gnabry, and Sane.
Do you think Bayern could compete with Real Madrid, Man City, Napoli, Arsenal,
In
and
knockouts,
Barca? Do you
anything
think?
can happen. That's the
And
way
see,
I've always looked at it.
and anything can happen, but it doesn't always go Bayern's way. I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't,
I can't pick
I
Bayern
don't see it.
over Arsenal are a great team, but they're
No,
kids. A
I'm
lot of
just
them are
seeing
their first time they're
squad
playing at this
wise.
stage.
No, I agree with you, but I like you can say Arsenal, and Barca. I don't like they don't have the experience, especially because they're very young. But like
I think
Arsenal
that's really only
have
only Arsenal though, because
no like
how many of
Arsenal.
Arsenal's starters, like their starting 11, how many of those will have played in a Champions League knockout game if they make it to that stage? I'm trying to
Bro,
think of from their starting 11.
no, I
Have
don't think
any?
except Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko,
Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, the Man City people, and
Kai
that's it.
Havertz.
Kai, who cares, man? That doesn't count. He scored in the final
Um,
though.
no, I know, I agree with you. In terms of pedigree, Arsenal does not have it, but in terms of squad, I think Arsenal can compete with
No, I
anybody.
agree. They have a great team.
And Bayern, like they have a good squad, like at least especially a good starting 11. But last year they lost because of one guy, and he's still on the team, you know? So like Upamecano should not
He
be
doesn't
anywhere near that
start.
team. He
Now
doesn't
they have
start
Kim Min
now,
Jae
but
and Delict.
everybody got better. Man City got better.
Man City did get better.
Arsenal got better. Real Madrid, I think
Mm,
they're on the lower tier of
they're
like my
good
top
though. I
five,
mean, of
but they're a good
course.
team. They can beat anybody. If you're speaking of pedigree, they are probably number one team to fear. But I don't think anybody's scared of Bayern. I don't think anybody's scared of Harry Kane. Like
I don't know.
I
I'll give you mine. I'll say Bayern can win it. That's my
okay.
favorites. Or that's who I think is gonna win. Although City are of course favorites.
Yeah.
Bayern, Arsenal can win it. I think they're 1 year away where I think they need some exposure. Just like kind of this is almost disrespectful to the Real team with Mourinho, but they remind me of the 10-11 Mourinho team where none of them had played, really deep into a competition. and then you kind of saw the next couple of years they were more experienced. I
Yeah,
think that's gonna hold them. But I think Arsenal can win it. I would say Real Madrid can win it. I don't think Napoli can win it though. Atletico Madrid, I really
yeah.
think could turn some heads, especially PSG and Barca. I think those six.
I, like I get the Arsenal are a year away, I get it,
Mm.
but at this like I'm like so confident in this Arsenal team. It's not because of like like lack of experience or any of that, but I think the last 2 years they've been through heartbreak.
They have. That's
They've
true.
they've missed out on top four, and then they missed out on the league title, which they were leading for 34 out of the 38 game weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything phases them, because if you are competing with Man City, that's arguably the best team in the league. Obviously, you did not compete with them, when there was 1v1. They whooped Arsenal both times. They whooped us both times.
Yeah.
But this year you get get off to a good start. You beat them in the Community Shield. It's a Community Shield, but still, But I think they're ready. Um, I don't agree that you don't think Napoli. I think Napoli last year could have just gone to the final, as they got as far as they could, but
But they got worse. They
Bayern,
lost their best defender.
they lost their best defender, but they still they were not. I don't think they were. They had three guys that were freaking, at least offensively. I get
They kept
defense. I get it.
Osimhen. They kept Kvaratskhelia. They kept Anguissa. Uh,
Yeah.
that's true too. They have a good team, to be fair.
Yeah. By Bayern, you having Bayern number one is crazy to me. I know you're a big fan of Bayern. Are you had them favorited last year as well,
I
and you
did.
know
I
where that
did.
got you. You did.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. They got slapped by City, but they didn't have a
Yeah.
striker last year.
They didn't have a striker. That's true. Mane was no use to them. He got injured, and then he
Mane
just
is
never got
good,
it
but
back. But
he's not that profile of player. And Kane, in terms of link up play, is that total package. He might be the best in the world right now. I mean, Haaland, I think, is the best striker. It's just a pure number nine. But in terms of that
yeah,
total package, I mean, he's showing it too. Kane has been fantastic this season.
no, he's playing in the Bundesliga. That's all I have to say.
That's true.
It's the Bundesliga.
He's proved himself already,
We've
man.
never
He
seen
scores
Kane.
30 goals a
I
season
know
with Spurs.
he's a great goal scorer, but I don't think Harry Kane can spearhead a freaking Champions League winning side. I don't think. He can be your best player. You can have a really good team, but like relying on Harry Kane is, even Tottenham when they made the Champions League final, he didn't play. Like
That's
he
true. He's
wasn't
not
there
a
for
good.
the
He
yeah.
has no big game pedigree to this point of
So
his career. That's a
they,
great
they
point.
but we'll see. Obviously they're very talented. Leroy Sané looks rejuvenated. He's playing well off Harry Kane. Both their wingers are playing well off him. So I don't know. I need to see Musiala. He was kind of a no-show last year. At least, but it's Man City, so who cares? But
That's very
still,
true. But
yeah.
let's segue to the topic that I've been waiting all week to talk about. So we talked kind of
This is
briefly about Arsenal. What were you saying?
this is your favorite topic in
This is
general.
my favorite topic.
Yeah.
Uh, wait, who's this? United, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
good, okay, good. It's literally rubbing
Yeah.
my hands together for this. But so on the other side of the Arsenal game, or the
Yeah.
other, obviously there's the winner and the loser. So United loses the game 3-1.
Hmm.
With drama, the Garnacho goal, offsides. They come back. Declan Rice scores minute 97, and then Jesus hits someone on the ground like minute 102, deep into stoppage time. Very, very
Yeah.
tough loss. Although I think it was deserved. I think the better team on the night won for sure. I
Yeah.
don't think that was really put into question. But I think the real drama started both during the game, I'd say, with who was on the field towards the end of the game,
Absolutely.
in terms of the defenders for United. And then after the game, Ten Hag was asked about Sancho, and he says, on his performance and training, we didn't select him. You have to reach the level every day of Manchester United. You could make choices in the front line. This game, he wasn't selected. To which Sancho went and said,
Immediately after.
immediately
It wasn't even
after,
an hour after. Yeah.
kind of just to paraphrase, do not believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I've conducted myself in training very well this week. And then he said, I have been a scapegoat for a long time, which is not fair. And he
Mm-hmm.
basically was saying, all I want to do is play football with a smile on my face, and basically I will continue to fight for this team. I have a lot to say on this because I already don't like a certain coach. But I'll
Yeah.
let you start because I don't want to take too
Okay.
much airspace.
I think we disagree on this. Because I don't think Ten Hag did anything wrong in this situation, other than like we can speak about the game later, but like in terms of like what he said about Sancho saying he wasn't training well, and then Sancho like replying like before he even got off the podium
Yeah.
is like I'm not really oh that's disrespectful to like I if somebody's if a coach lies or says something wrong, I you should you should say something. But I feel like in Ten Hag has bought a lot of good graces with Sancho, especially last year. He gave him time away from I'm not sure it came out in the public yet what was going on with Sancho. But he gave him the time he needed. You get the jokes, he was training in the mountains or whatever, just to clear his head. But um that has not been repaid in any way. Like Sancho has not contributed to this team in any way, shape, or form. He has not contributed statistically. He has not contributed playing well. Obviously, the guy ahead of him is not doing better.
Anything.
Like
He's not
he's
doing
not doing
anything.
anything either. But like you can see what Anthony brings to the team. I get it. And you can see it like especially against Arsenal. You saw the way he was like defending. He gets back on defense. He does nothing else up the pitch. But Sancho doesn't even give you that. Obviously, like Sancho has made a few appearances off the bench, and I thought he played well. And he played well in the preseason, playing as a false nine, which he has not
He has
been
not
given
played
the
there at all.
opportunity. Yeah, and now that's not going to happen because they have a £80 million striker on the team, so that won't happen. So I don't think Ten Hag did anything wrong after the game. During the game, we can talk about that, which is he did a lot wrong. But in terms of Sancho, I think he's handled that as well. And it's such a sensitive topic, especially when it comes to mental health and all that good stuff. And I think he's dealt with that better than I don't think any other manager in this league, in this country could have. But
You
other
are
than that,
putting you are putting a lot of your
good
credential
faith.
points or of your faith in Ten Hag, the best
No,
in the
no,
country.
no, not the best in the country. I'm talking about like in
In
like
terms
the
of the
topic of
way
mental health.
he handled the situation and things
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think any other coach would have. If Sancho, if you come in and obviously Sancho didn't do anything under Ole, didn't do anything under Ragnick, and then he's not doing anything under you for 6 months, and then you're like, yo, bro, go, take the time you need to go sort this out, and then come back to me, and then he does nothing after, and then you just simply say he didn't make the team because he's not training well, and then you get this is very, I think, unfair to Ten Hag.
Okay. All right. There's a couple things.
Okay,
There's United for me is like it's like a multi-stage issue, and all of them,
absolutely,
I think, all of them come together.
yeah,
There's not really one that's isolated on its own. I want to start with the players first of all.
okay,
Every time United lose, it's always the same excuse: the Glazers, the Glazers, the Glazers, the Glazers. Personally, I think there are better owners in football for sure in terms of that the way they run the way they run the club, the infrastructure of the club, things like that. But
yeah,
for fans of United to sit and complain about transfer spend for me is crazy. Every single player that they've wanted for the last 10 years they've gotten. They screamed for Pogba, they got Pogba. They screamed for Sancho, they got Sancho. They screamed for Anthony last summer, they got Anthony. Bruno Fernandes, when they wanted Bruno Fernandes, they got Bruno Fernandes. And when Man City were close to getting Maguire, they outbid it for Maguire.
Yep.
That's already those five names maybe are 500 million or so. So for me, the issue is not the owners. I think this is all the players on the field is recruitment, recruitment. It's all that. And we look at how much Ten Hag spent this summer and last summer, to be fair, and there's
Mm-hmm.
still huge question marks at positions. How is Johnny Evans starting or getting meaningful minutes for Manchester United? I think if you open him as a free agent to all 20 teams in the Premier League, I don't know which team would pick him up. I don't know if he'd start for Luton, which is saying something.
No, he should not be playing in the Premier League.
I have
No.
no idea how he's playing in the Premier League. They still have huge issues question marks at fullback. They have the Mason Mount signing this summer didn't make any sense and now he's injured. They
Yeah.
signed a 19-year-old kid to get them goals. They basically are
Mm-hmm.
relying still on Marcus Rashford. So I think that's problem A. I think that there's a huge reluctancy to just look at the owners and blame them immediately. They're like it's kind of like the knee-jerk reaction. To use Sancho's quotes, it's like scapegoats.
Yeah.
And then then you get to the second tier, which is Ten Hag, and I think that there's like a huge amount of it's like almost like a knee jerk reaction, to put into better words, to just defend Ten Hag at every turn. This is connecting even back to last season, but you're starting to notice a theme with specific players in the squad that he doesn't like and the way that they're treated versus other players in the squad. It started with Cristiano, like it or not,
Yeah.
who Ronaldo before Ten Hag, I have never heard of a question mark on his professionalism, his work ethic, his willingness to fight for his team. Those were all like newly introduced in the time of United. And I think that it connects back to a quote from Mourinho where I think if you can't manage the big players, you cannot manage anything at all. And I think Ten Hag's man management, maybe his tactics, in my opinion, are very questionable. I think last season, aside from the 10 or 15 games where Marcus Rashford was scoring every goal, every game or every two games, I think he was bang average in terms of comparing him to Ole, to comparing him to Van Gaal, in terms of his results. Now there's starting to be a huge question mark on his man management. This is now Sancho. There were, I think, problems with De Gea, I believe, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
and Cristiano, three players. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these players were very high on the wage bill. I think that that's
Mm-hmm.
maybe something from upper management, but I don't know. I don't. I compare it with Arteta, for example. And Arteta this week was asked about Havertz,
Yeah.
and he made like a funny joke about like his wife or something that people were like memeing. But the point is, when he was asked about it, he defended his player. I think anytime there's a loss, I feel like someone's always being thrown under the bus. When it was Cristiano was there, it was Cristiano, and Cristiano's the problem. And then think about all the leaks we've seen this week. I don't know if you've seen any of them on Twitter. Sancho has a character issue. He's refusing to leave the club. These leaks are coming from somewhere in the club, like it or not. Media, when all the media is saying the same lines, that means someone is leaking it. So I think it just brings into question mark man management. I think that a lot of the blame that's being put on the owners is really his fault. That's my opinion on the whole thing.
Okay. All right. The first thing you said was recruitment, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was an article published, I believe, yesterday, by CIES Football Observatory,
Yeah.
and they did just on in the Premier League the last 10 years of transfers, right?
Yeah.
And Man United
This was
was
1.3
number
billion.
one.
Yep.
Yep, 1.4 billion in net loss in transfer windows. And you
Yep.
listed all the names. We don't
Those
need
are
to
just
go
some
over
of the
them.
names. Yeah.
Just yeah, and there's more where they spend big money and they either get rid of them for less money or they just stay until they don't. You
And
like
they leave
Harry
on a free.
Maguire right now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so recruitment is a big issue. I get that. That is a whole. That's a organizational problem. Okay, head to head from the top to the bottom. Right. What you're talking about with Ten Hag and his man management, I think Obviously we don't know the full story, and I don't want to be insensitive about like what happened last summer with like Cristiano and his child. But like Cristiano didn't show up, right? Like at the beginning of this
The beginning of the preseason, that's fair.
yeah. And then you saw the team was playing better without him. You know, that was you could we all know the statistics. The team looked better without Ronaldo. And then there was a few incidents where he's clearly being disrespectful. He walked out, against in a
But
game
why?
where huh?
But why?
Because he didn't come on. I think that was a Tottenham game. I think
It
they won
was like he
2-0.
told him to warm up and then didn't and then made all the subs.
But like that is a manager's decision, is it
But you
not?
have to realize that there's a part of being a manager, like it or not, is that certain players are managed differently to other players. Just like Mourinho said, for example, this is a huge problem. I think back to when Rafa Benitez was managing Real Madrid, and he
Yeah.
was sacked really quickly. You you just the star players and those high players are just they're managed very differently. Just like Mourinho said, that your job as a coach with the big players, especially with high wages, big ego, stars, is just to make them fit in the team that you want to use. You
I
cannot
I
tell
I
Cristiano
get that.
Ronaldo to come off the bench, warm up, and then make three substitutions. It is disrespectful. Maybe you can do that to a 17-year-old kid from the academy, but you cannot do that to Cristiano Ronaldo. You know what I'm trying to say?
I no, I get that. I get that. And that type of management, I get that, but it works.
How
Like
about
the
this?
what Ten
I'll
Hag
pose a
did.
question.
Okay.
I think Ten Hag has his favorites. You talk about Anthony and things he brings to the game, but I think that there's
Yeah.
players in his squad that will never. Lisandro Martinez, no matter how bad he plays, he will play every week, which he has been playing well, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
Uh, Anthony every week plays.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno Fernandes every week plays.
Mm-hmm.
And Martial somehow gets in the team every week. I have no idea how he does it. You
Okay.
don't think he has his favorites?
It he no, I think he like I wouldn't say favorites, but I think he prefers some players over others, right? Okay, now let me have a question for you.
Okay.
Sancho, you said, Lissandro
Yes.
Martinez,
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandez. Um, who would play over them? Who's better than them on that team that should play?
Like over Anthony.
Or who should start over Anthony? Who should start over Lissandro
They
Martinez?
haven't
And who
given
should start
they've
over
never
Bruno?
given Sancho a start at right wing this season. I don't think he started consecutive games, even though he was playing false nine. To be fair to him, this is
I
why I'm
I
saying
get that.
back to what you said. It's all one connected issue. The recruitment connects to the team choices, connects to the issue with the coaching, connects to why certain players seem to get ostracized from the club versus others.
Mm-hmm.
Over
I
Lissandro,
get
I agree. He's the best. He's the best left-sided center back they have. Rashford is the best left winger. Bruno Fernandes is the best creative midfielder. I agree with that 100%. They should start, but I think that there's a propensity for him to choose players week in week out who don't deserve
yeah.
him.
I think Ten Hag is just trying to win games, and he's putting the best 11 out there. Obviously, his best 11 stinks. We know that, and that's mostly due to him because he's spending all this money, and there's no difference makers on the team.
I
I
agree.
think you can yell at like you can be mad at him for that. Whereas you spent 400 million pounds over the last 2 summers, and you have nothing to show for it other than Lissandro Martinez, who's he's I think he's really good. I don't think he's the best, but he's good. He's a good center back. Um, but like all the other stuff, like why should Sancho play? What has Sancho shown for him to be like he has looked worse than Anthony when he's played? And
The thing
Anthony
is,
stinks.
the thing is that Sancho is not. It's not on. It's not the first time something like this has happened at the same club, which is when you start to raise question marks. Like, I see this
Yeah.
and I see the exact same thing that happened with Cristiano.
Yeah.
Like, just aside from like, I forgot what it was when Cristiano was still. I think this was when he was still at the club, and he was like asked a question about Ronaldo to the from the media, and he said Like I bench him and I sleep well. I forgot the exact quote. Do you know
He,
what I'm talking about?
yeah, I know what you're
Like
talking
this
about.
is
Yeah.
just weird. Like you never see coaches say stuff like that, you know?
Okay. Like I was under the under the impression that Ronaldo was not like obviously the year before he had 24 goals, all that good stuff. He played really well, right? But like coming into the season, I don't think he was the same player. And we
You can
saw it
say he
in that
doesn't
season, and
deserve
we
to
saw that in
start.
the World Cup.
You
Huh?
can say he doesn't deserve to start. That's a whole like that. I will never say because he put Ronaldo on the bench versus start in the starting 11. That means he's not a good coach. Good for
Okay.
you. Some coaches do that. The problem is the way he handles situations. I think is that's where people start to kind of really have question marks.
I would okay. There was a question. Ronaldo was asked a question today about why João Felix and João Cancelo were on the team when they haven't played, right, in the Portuguese national team.
Okay.
And Cristiano said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, there's always controversy in team selections, but
Yes,
the coach decides. Doesn't matter.
I
So right,
agree. I agree.
exactly. So why is it bad player management when okay, you told Ronaldo to warm up, but why do you need Ronaldo on in a game that you're winning 2-0? Like
You cannot
I
tell. You
don't get it.
cannot tell
Why
someone.
couldn't
You cannot
why
tell
can't that
someone
be the
like him.
coach's why
That
can't
is.
that be the coach's decision?
It is different for him to put a team sheet out an hour before a game and say Cristiano is not starting. So what? That's a whole other like issue, which is fine. Like that, I agree as the coach. But there's certain things you simply cannot do. You cannot say to a player who's still on the team, I put him on the bench and I sleep well at night. You cannot say, oh, warm up and then make three substitutions like he's a 17-year-old from the academy. At the end of the day, you cannot treat Cristiano Ronaldo the same way you treat Garnacho. The same these types of players,
This
they have
this
different
this
treatment.
this is not 2017 Cristiano Ronaldo.
It doesn't
Like
matter if he doesn't deserve to start the game or doesn't deserve to play, but there's the conduct in which you go about it. Like for example, the City game where they were losing, they were getting slapped like 6-1, I think, at halftime. And his
and he
plan
was
was to
in.
play Cristiano the second half, and he's like, out of respect for Cristiano, I didn't play him the second half.
Mm-hmm.
You agree that that's within line because it's a different type of player. He made substitutions the second half, but he knew he was not going to come back from 6-1 versus City.
Okay, okay,
The next
okay.
week he did that Tottenham stuff.
That's out of respect for Ronaldo. Why can't Ronaldo, out of respect for Ten Hag, understand that in a game that's 2-0, and I'm pretty they scored the second goal late. Why does he need to come on? Like I think Ten Hag gets a lot. He deserves 90% of it, but I think like player treatment and all this stuff, I don't think he's put a foot wrong.
Just
I don't
wait
think he's put a
until
foot
it
down wrong.
just. I think the first time is whatever. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But now
Yeah,
it feels like I'm watching the same thing happen, where week in week out, players for United are starting. Anthony
but
starts every week, no matter how
because
he
there's
plays.
no one better than him. Garnacho was given an opportunity, right, to start, and they played Rashford at striker. He stunk. He stunk the
Yeah,
whole
they
game.
started Rashford. Yep, that's fair.
And I feel like
But
if
whose fault
Sancho,
is that? He spent 100 million on Anthony. He
that
dug his
that's a
own
whole nother
grave.
discussion.
I don't think it's another
That's a
discussion. I think it's one connected problem. And like we always joke about Ten Hag and we're like, oh, he only brings in players that he knows. That's another
no
problem that
that's true.
connects to that connects
That's
to
true.
this.
Anthony stinking is all on Ten Hag, right? But Anthony starting, I don't think that's a Ten Hag problem. I like that that's the best he has. What
No, I
Anthony's the
just
best
think
he
that
got
I just
at
think
right.
that his football doesn't really move like the way they play is just meh. Like even Postecoglou with Tottenham, look at the things he's doing, and he's been there for like a month or two.
Yeah, like I agree with you. Football sucks, players suck, recruitment sucks. But him putting his best 11, I don't think that's something that should be like he should be criticized for. But what they produce, that's all on him.
I don't think the
Anthony not
problem is
having
that he doesn't play Sancho. I think the problem is what he said.
he was asked a question, he answered it. He said why wasn't Sancho in the squad? Yeah, he
I
didn't
picked a
train well.
different player.
I've seen that,
I
but
don't
if
know. I
I
don't.
think if
I feel like
Sancho's
it's just weird. He doesn't
if
even
that's
have the
Sancho's
pedigree as a
reaction,
coach.
if that's Sancho's reaction to just simply saying he didn't train well, you could have said whatever you wanted, and I think Sancho would have responded the same way.
I don't know,
I think he
man. He
was
just
just
said
looking
I
to pick
picked
a
a
fight.
different team. You could have said the team picked itself, or I picked a different team. I don't know. You don't. It's very rare for you to find coaches at this level that say XY didn't train, so he's not playing. It's just like it's just not stuff that you see from what's it called from
No,
coaches at
I
the
get
top
it. It's
level.
it questioning somebody's professionalism is the number one taboo in the media. That's something that follows them for the rest of their careers,
Mm-hmm.
especially someone of like at least Ten Hag stature, not in terms of what he's accomplished, but he's at Man United, that's the media presence of that club in the league is too great to say something like that. But
Yeah.
if he's being honest, you have to, yeah, like this is a question he's gonna get every week. Why isn't Sancho playing? Why isn't Sancho playing? Why isn't Sancho's not good enough? We've seen it for 3 years now. He's not good
Fair
enough.
enough. Fair
He's
enough.
not good enough. Sancho stinks.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what they do. What they do this year. I'm very curious to see where they finish because I think it's gonna get ugly.
And I don't think it matters where they finish. I think Ten Hag stays through it all. I
He
think they'll
will.
choose
He
Ten
will.
Hag
I
over
agree.
anybody. Yeah.
I agree. But if this happens again,
I
we'll see. If it's with a
if it
different
happens again,
player,
the real problem should be Bruno Fernandes because his professionalism is the one that needs to be questioned. He's awful on the pitch when they're
one of
losing,
one of his one
awful
of
on the
his
pitch.
it's one of Ten
Oh,
Hag's favorite players. So he put the armband on. So
he's their best player right now.
he is their best player. To be fair to him.
I would not disrespect my best player at
But
all.
let's quickly talk about a club that I didn't even have on the agenda. But Chelsea went and
Yeah.
lost this weekend to Nottingham Forest. I don't know what the problem is anymore, bro, because the squads that the lineups they put out are not bad. They have good depth from the bench. It's just there's
Mhm.
just this that killer mentality just missing.
The I think lineup. I think the starting 11 needs work because
I think it should be a
he's
four
playing
back.
five at the back.
I
He should
agree.
not be playing five at the back.
Yeah.
Um, and I've seen all the tweets, all the videos of Thiago Silva. I just think it's the way they're playing. Like they can't defend at all. You saw Colwell. Like he just let somebody go right down the middle for their goal and he couldn't catch up. Like that's just you shouldn't put your players in that kind of position. Obviously Caicedo was responsible for that goal itself. He's not playing well. He's $100
He is
million
playing
player.
horrible.
So I'm like I'm still like I think now moving forward, I think Pochettino needs to, like get it together because I don't think he's putting these players in position to be successful. And their only win is against Luton. And that's I don't even consider
Arguably the
that a
worst
win.
team.
But
Arguably the worst
ever.
team.
Uh yeah. So like Chelsea, like I said this last week. I'll wait until at least we get like a lot of games in, so we have a bigger thing to like just a bigger pot of games. But they're just not good. They're just it doesn't look it's not flowing right now at the moment. Obviously Nicholas Jackson missed a tap in that is something that is just known for a Chelsea striker.
I know.
But like he's the best they have. I think Nkunku when he comes back, I think he'll settle things a
So
little bit.
needed.
They need him.
Yes.
They need him badly in terms of just creation and
And
goal
they get
scoring. He
Lavia back
does
too.
and Lavia back. And then after all those come back, it's just he's not picking the right team now. When all your best players are back, what are you gonna do? Like
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
true.
you don't have the trust. I don't. I at least now, I think he'll get it together. But I'm seeing, especially from our Chelsea fan friends, I'm seeing a lot of doubt. I think Chilwell was playing left wing for a majority of
Yes,
that
he
game,
was. He
and
was.
that's not
And
ideal.
they
That's
have
not
left wingers. They have Sterling, who has played there. They have Mudrik, who I don't know
Mudrik.
why he
Yep.
doesn't play more. Uh,
No,
they've never used Mudryk the way they were using him in preseason, which he was doing very well, to be fair to him.
yeah, and he was playing so well off of Nico Jackson. So like it's just it's been a continuing trend where we've seen Ten Hag abandon everything that he did in the preseason.
Hmm.
We saw Arteta abandon everything he did in the preseason, and now we're seeing it with Pochettino. So like it's just a league wide, thing going on right now, I guess.
Yeah.
But Mudryk should be starting. That's your that's your 80 million pound left winger. He should be. I don't care if he stinks. He needs to just play through it. Like that's your future. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Pochettino just needs to put the best team on
We'll
paper.
see.
He doesn't know.
Exactly. I think it just needs to be back to what they did in
And then
preseason.
Reece James is obviously out as he is usually. So like I don't know. It's Chelsea. It's just all over the place, man.
Yep.
Oh my god.
But kind of segueing off of Chelsea,
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of all one big connected thing, so we'll kind of mesh this
Yeah.
together. But we saw three hat tricks on the weekend, by the way. Second time that's ever happened in one day, like on a
Yeah.
match day. Evan Ferguson, Erling Haaland again, and Heung-min Son. We've seen a couple games now. We've gotten to see really the way teams play. I think this is 4 games.
Yeah.
Anything drastically changing for you, top to bottom?
I think Tottenham being a really good team. I did not see that coming.
Yep.
They're they are so fluid. Like it's 4 games into the
Madison,
season and
crazy.
they're playing like they've been playing together for 5 years,
Yep.
They're um and then I think they look like a top 4 team. Obviously it'll be tough with Liverpool looking good, Arsenal, City, and then Newcastle. They've lost 3 games in a row. And they've lost obviously they got dismantled by
By
no, they
Brighton.
lost by Brighton. Yeah, they got dismantled by Brighton. They lost to City, and then they lost to Liverpool. So, was it Liverpool?
Liverpool 2-1 with Nunez.
Two
Yeah.
one. Yeah, with the Nunez 2 goals.
Hmm.
So I did not see that coming. I obviously those teams are top 4 contenders as well. Like with Champions League fixtures, with FA Cup, with League Cup, all that stuff. It's going to be hard. These are the only months where you're going to be playing 1 game a week.
Yeah.
And they're not looking good right now. They've lost 3 games in a row. So I didn't see that coming. But what changes do you think you have
I
like
think the
from what
big
you've seen?
the one that impresses me a lot is Brighton for sure.
Yeah.
They have been crazy, man. Is that four 3 wins and a loss? Who was their loss to? Is that to? It was West Ham last week.
West Ham, yeah, the
But
last week, yeah.
every year, man, they just one player comes in, another comes out. Just seems like they don't miss a set. Now they have João Pedro in that creative number 10 role. They have really quality people off the bench now. You have Igor and Dahoud and experience with Milner. Uh, they're gonna push for top four. I think.
What do you think of Evan Ferguson?
Great player, man. How much is he gonna get when they sell him in like a year or two? Like 150?
Is I don't know how they keep obviously Ansu Fati's there as well.
Yeah.
But he's 18 years old. He scored a hat trick. So uh the only person to score a hat trick at 18 in Premier League history is Michael Owen, Wayne Rooney, and Francis Jeffers. That's a really good company
Good
to be
company,
in.
yeah.
Um, but he's ridiculous, man. Every goal he scored was just he's a perfect striker, pretty much.
I know.
And he's young, but he has qualities that I
He's
would say are
maturity,
like
yeah.
ahead of like Holland, like Holland where Holland is right now.
Yeah.
Not overall, but like just in terms of like here or there, there's certain things that he does much better than Holland. Um, but obviously then Holland scores 3 goals and he completed 4 passes. That's the kind of stuff that guy is capable of. So,
Exactly. No, I
but
think
whoever gets Evan Ferguson, hopefully it's Arsenal. But
he's a crazy, crazy player, man. When he's
no,
like,
he's
if he stays there until he's like 2021 and really
yeah,
develops, and by the way, De Zerbi, what a coach. Like they got Potter
man.
and they replaced him with someone better.
Man, I wonder what Potter's doing right now. I know he's sick to his stomach,
I
probably from
know.
watching Chelsea, but still.
And they have so much money. Just wait until next summer when they get if they get UCL football and they get Fati coming too. Like next week he's gonna or after the international break he's gonna be playing. Watch
Yeah.
out, man. That team is gonna be like no one wants to play them.
Where would Fati play? You think he's a starter on this team?
No, I think he comes off the bench.
Yeah, if he
And that's
comes in as a
scary.
striker, I don't think. Yeah, so
Well, who knows? You can play him across the whole line because Fati, we've never seen him as a number 10, maybe in that role, maybe to as replacement for Mitoma. Once the Europa League starts, they're gonna need more depth. Uh,
and Mitoma is he has 3 assists and 1 goal in 4 games. Like it's the amount of production they're getting out of like everybody is
and
ridiculous.
Gilmore's
Like
been good.
Deserby's,
They're
yeah.
cooking. I'm telling you.
No, they have a coach that like people want to come play for. Like getting somebody like Ansu Fati is ridiculous to
As
be like
Brighton, I
at Brighton.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is they're ahead of whatever trajectory they were on. It's ridiculous.
I know. But
Um,
yeah, very good result. But let's kind of segue off the Prem because the Prem's kind of monopolized the first couple of minutes of this. We go to
yeah,
La Liga. Uh,
yes, your
really only
boy.
one again, man. Another game, another goal, and this time it was late.
Yeah, this time was you guys needed it.
I know.
Is crazy how clutch that was. But
Another week,
I don't think it's surprising anymore. But what are you saying with Jude?
bro. That guy is crazy, man. Just how good he is on both sides, and I think the thing that struck me on the last goal. Keep in mind, Jude just turned 20, I believe, or
Yeah.
just turned 20. Lucas
Hmm.
Vasquez winds his leg back up to kick, immediately turns his head and starts running for the goal. Like that is something that maybe even some of the world's best strikers took until they were 27, 28. And this guy's a midfielder. And he
Yeah.
already has such like an eye for goal. And think about last week, I don't know if you saw with Joseo against Celta Vigo. He drew up like the play from the corner. He was like, you need to go here and win the flick on, and then I'm gonna attack the ball. Like he just has this hunger for goals. Like it's so beyond his years. And the crazy thing is that's he's not a one trick pony. Like he's literally as a box to box, maybe the best right now.
Absolutely. And then like he obviously we've talked about how big and everything he is, but he's so physically tough. Like
Exactly.
they tried to bully him, and it did not work
And
at
that's
all.
Getafe too. That's the most
Yeah,
physical team that he'll play probably all season. They have like a million behind the ball. They were down early. Tony Cruz changed the game, by the way. To see, he's
absolutely. Yeah,
still playing fantastic.
he played really well. But like I like are you're saying like the eye for goal and stuff like that. This for the position he's playing with you guys now is something he's never done,
That's
and
true.
he's 4 games into his Real Madrid career and 4 games, and he's
Yep.
producing what we probably expected of him for the whole
For
season
the whole
is already
season.
done. Is already done in the first month. He's obviously won Player of the Month, everything. He's won every award in La Liga individually, at least the week to week stuff. But I don't know what more you can say. He looked like obviously I'm an Arsenal fan and like Declan we have Declan Rice. We have Declan Rice and who's the other, 100 million pound player
Yep.
and Caicedo, all that stuff, but he just looks a tier above everybody right now at the moment.
And credit to go ahead, sorry.
England cannot fumble this.
And
Is
credit
I don't know.
to Carlo because no one really saw him in this like almost number 10 like Lampard role where he's basically like a shadow striker almost where he
Yeah,
has like he is good at it but he has zero defensive responsibilities and now I'm really curious to see how they're going to transition from that to playing with Gareth Southgate who like in the World Cup I think played him as a double pivot with
yeah,
Declan.
with Declan, yeah,
So now what do you do because well, I don't know if did Madison get called up maybe because you have Madison there now too who can also play in that
mm-hmm.
kind of creative role and obviously Harry Kane who's arguably the best or one of the best strikers in the world for sure. So yeah, I want to see how he
That
transitions from playing pretty much as a shadow striker or as a false nine to be honest because there is no one Joseo played in front of him for the majority of this game. So it really was like a shadow striker. But Yeah, really
One
curious to
one
see.
thing one thing I know for sure is Gareth Southgate will not try anything with
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
it will be a Declan Jude Bellingham double pivot as it has been for the last 3
It'll
years.
be Harry Maguire
Um
at center back
exactly. So I know it came out that he's leaving after Euros. He needs to be gone now
now. Yeah,
because what they have on their hands is like potential world domination,
they have a
like
golden
in the world.
generation.
Exactly. And he hasn't done anything with it. Obviously Gareth Southgate slander is, you know, we love that, but like England is so stacked.
I mean,
And
they're
Harry Maguire gets called up.
ridiculous. How does
Harry
I
Maguire
think
gets called up.
Fikayo Tomori still doesn't get starting time, which I don't know how he starts for AC, which is one of the best teams in Italy. They have center backs now.
They
Gary
they are so stacked in every position.
John
Um
Stones is great at center back. They
yeah.
have fullbacks now. Uh,
It's
crazy.
just
I
it's
have
just
no idea.
they're the Gareth Southgate's thinking is not, I don't think, modern enough. And when you have somebody like Jude, especially like I get Jude with Real Madrid. Like you have Tchouameni, you have Valverde, you have all those. But England, you have somebody who is arguably just as good as him that complements him as perfectly as anybody in the world in Declan Rice, and you just sit them behind in front of the defense
And
for
you set
90
them in a
minutes
double
every win.
pivot. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So,
And how did Calvin Phillips get a call up?
oh my God. I
I'm
I
so
don't even
it's okay.
I
I don't
don't.
like England, so we're good.
Saka did win England Player of the Year back to back. So 2 years in a row for our star boy. Let's get it.
Yeah, he's
But
fantastic. I've seen the light on
you
him.
have
I have. He's
he played he
crazy.
played like he played
He's
like shit against Man United,
I
but
know, but
he's
he's
just,
so
yeah,
good, man.
he's incredible.
I know, and I think he's an Arsenal lifer. I can't see him leaving.
I hope not.
But let's go kind of to the final segment, which
Yeah.
is 352. We put 5 minutes on the clock, and we cook three predictions each. Last week I think you were the one who said Arsenal wouldn't win. I said that they would slap United. Well, they didn't beat them comfortably, but they won.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was looking at a 1-1 draw and I was like, "Oh my God, this is not good." Because it was such an
and then
ugly game.
Garnacho.
And then Garnacho scored and I was just like, it was such an ugly game. Like I wasn't even proud to win. And like obviously the way we won is so like, euphoric, but over a 90-minute game, it was just so stressful, man.
Yeah,
I
no, absolutely. But
but
you want to start first?
um we are in an international break right now,
Yeah.
so the European qualifiers. Um Scotland is undefeated. They are playing against Cyprus and Spain, and I think they stay undefeated.
Okay. Uh, I'm gonna do my international one since you started. I
Mm-hmm.
think this summer at the Euros we're gonna see Cristiano starting and playing a big role for a Portugal team that goes far in the tournament. Maybe it's delusion, but I think they have a good chance. They're one of the favorites for sure.
You are staying, until the end for this ride. I appreciate that.
You're second.
And then also, France is undefeated. They are playing against Ireland and the Netherlands, and I think they lose to the Netherlands, who are kind of low on the table right now. So I think
Yeah, they
they
need
should,
these
yeah,
wins.
they need to win.
This one is EPL. My last two are EPL one, connected to my predictions.
Yeah.
Give me De Zerbi Manager of the Year
Oh,
and give me Brighton top four. I think they. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they take Chelsea's spot. I see that spot now, but they
that
have
spot is
Tottenham
gone, bro.
too.
I'm glad you already got a
Give me
replacement, but
Brighton. Give
that
me Brighton four, Liverpool three. That's like bold though. I don't know. I think it's they're still. I don't know. I just have to see more from Spurs and from Chelsea when Nkunku comes back. But who knows?
yeah, I think Brighton is legit, and I think Tottenham is legit. That's any of those two, other than the top three. It's going to be a really nice top four race. But I'm going to make my declaration right now, and I think Man United is out of the top six.
in the top six.
Out of the top six.
So
I
no Europe.
know you're
Or
up for that.
they might have it
And
with the coefficients, but yeah.
yeah, I think they're gonna make it to the elimination rounds, but I think they're done for the day in the Premier League. It's gonna be a long season.
Nah, they have Brighton
With
next. I
no-
cannot wait for that game.
Oh, right after, yes, right after the international break.
They get Brighton, and then I think they get who did they get after Brighton? They get Burnley, man, easy game, and then Palace. I don't need to see them against City. I will be there no matter what.
Evan. I hope Evan. You never know when Evan Ferguson's gonna start, but if it's against Harry Maguire and
Johnny Evans.
Evans,
Well, we'll see.
sheesh.
But my last one, I feel bad saying this, but I had them just squeaking outside of the relegation zone. But Everton, man, they just don't convince me at all. I think they go down.
Oh, I they don't go down.
They do. They do.
They do. Oh yeah, no, they're gone this year. I think
Luton is
they're
100%
bad.
gone. I am so happy I picked them 19th.
I was doing some research on Luton, and they're going to be the worst team in Premier League history.
They're going to be like with
bad.
Huddersfield. I think Huddersfield had like 16 points.
Yeah. Let me see. I think Derby 2007-2008 had 11 total points.
Wow.
And then they went 38 games unbeaten without a win in like extending to the next season.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Luton is,
but
I don't.
Luton is
people
not
had them.
good.
I saw one person had them like 13th. I don't know what that guy is
God.
thinking right now.
No, it's a nice, nice Cinderella run, but they gotta load up. They gotta
Feel good story for sure.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
next week we will not be here because of the international break. So
yes,
you guys
sir.
want to see us ramble about like Dembele for like an hour versus Cyprus, but we'll come back.
Pass to Mbappe is gonna
be those two idiots.
Mbappe wants him off the national team is gonna be the headline.
Oh yeah, dude. Who knows when that loser, man? I hate that guy. But in 2 weeks we'll be back, and I think
yes, sir.
that'll be Champions. We'll have Champions League back.
Yep, Champions League comes back that week.
Yes, so Champions League, and the good thing is we record Wednesday nights. So we'll be after the full match day is done. We'll have some juicy, Prem, and Champions League. It's season's kicking off now fully.
Absolutely, 2 weeks, and obviously you're a big NFL sports fan,
Yes,
so season starts this week.
I know. I'm so excited.
Who do the Bears play?
Home against Green Bay.
Oof.
And you guys are Sunday night versus Dallas, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes,
good
sir.
games.
We're about to make Trey Jones be a starter in week 2, bro. We're gonna make Dak look bad.
Trey Lance.
Bad. Trey Lance. Sorry, Trey Lance.
That's funny.
We're gonna make Dak look bad, but hopefully, all the best to the Bears and the Giants.
Yes, and Giants.
Yeah.
Get some sports this week. It's good. It's back. But,
yes, sir.
As always, pleasure, man.
Of
Another
course.
week. We're cooking this year. 5 weeks in a row, I think.
Yes, sir.
But as always, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Inshallah. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Yallah.